Hello everyone. My name is Thibo. I'm a top bridge player from the Netherlands, and I'm also a coach for mostly young, aspiring youngsters. But today I'll be sharing some boards with you. I try to pick interesting boards from the practice, boards that have been actually played at top level events or trainings, where everyone had some decisions on most boards, or at least a couple of players. Because of that they are practical boards, it was actually pretty difficult to get some of these boards perfectly right. And so you shouldn't feel bad if you feel like you've made a mistake or you haven't gotten the board optimally correct, because they were played at high-level events, and even some of the best players in the world got these boards wrong, or at least fairly good junior players. And because they don't have a clear theme, it is sometimes they're very layered. So if your opponents make some good plays, the chords became very difficult to get right, and if they made some easier plays, it was maybe manageable. Let's dive in. We will start with board 2. So on board 2, West has a fairly good hand, 17 count, Jack of Spades, and at the most tables I've seen, and also in practice, East opened 3 diamonds and goes pass. And right now, as West, you have a decision. What to bet. And in my opinion, you have 2 options. And those options are either pass, and I think that's possible if you have a very aggressive preempting style and you think your partner can often be very light. Then pass hopefully secures a plus score, and if North would balance in the balancing seat, you have a very good hand to penalty double them and extract the great score. And the other option is to bid 5 diamonds, which is the more exciting option in a training hand to see your partner declare a difficult board. The option I do not like is to bid 3 no trump. And I saw that a couple of times, and it goes all pass, and you get some lead, and you look at the dummy. And the problem here is, if you think with the West hand that if East has 7 diamond tricks and maybe 1 entry, right? So because if 3 no trump, you need to actually get to the diamonds to be able to catch them. Then in 5 diamonds, you already have 7 diamonds, 3 aces, and 1 more trick as an entry, which would make 11 tricks. But in practice, and also at this board, East has some useful values besides their diamonds, even though they're not solid, but they don't have an entry. And for the people who declared 3-no, they will probably try to desperately get to the East hand enough times to set up their diamond suit, but you won't manage, and with the spades will become open, and you won't be able to make 3 no trump. Whereas the other contract, 5 diamonds, will be quite makeable, even on the very difficult lead of the Jack of Spades. If South underleads one of his kings or one of her kings, it's immediately made. But even on this hand, on this lead, contract of 5 diamonds has lots of play, and whereas 3 no trump has almost nothing. I see a question if West can bid 4 diamonds instead of 5 diamonds to invite. But a raise of a preemptive bid is always to play, and not an invitational bid. So East is always supposed to pass that. A convention that some people play, you can immediately forget about that, is the bit 4 clubs shows either an invitational hand for 5 diamonds or a slam try with diamond fit. And East would either sign off in 4 diamonds as a non-forcing bit to reject the invite, or they could qubit something at the 4 level to accept the invite and show a good hand for slam. Best could sign off then with the invite or key card or something with the slam try hand. So let's say you are in 5 diamonds and you get Jack of Spades lead. So how would you play right now? And I actually saw some pretty nice plays from a couple of players where they took, and you start by drawing trumps. Oh, I need to show Declarer's hand. This only shows you one hand. Okay, so this is better, I assume. So this was the starting position. You get to 5 diamonds, you get the Jack of Spades lead. And you feel like you're trying to count your losers, and you see 1 heart loser, possibly the Queen of Diamonds if that doesn't drop, and a club loser. So most players start off by drawing trumps, which is great. And unfortunately, you see the Queen of Diamonds doesn't drop. And so now there are a bunch of plays you can make to try to either set up a heart or a club, or you can alternatively try to exit a diamond first to the queen and see what happens. And that already works really well now, because as the board lies, South wins Queen of Diamonds, and they don't actually have any exits in spades anymore. Both of their spades are gone, and they're going to have to lead either a club or a heart, which would give you, right now they're both underneath the king, but also if they're not, they are sure to give a trick. So if it would go club back, small king, you can use the 4th club to pitch your heart, and if it goes heart back, small king, you can also use your 3rd heart to pitch a club if the club finesse is on site. It's even better to pitch a spade instead of a heart here, so that if you get a heart back, maybe you can rough out an honor. But what I want you to remember mostly about this board is the bidding decision of West on the 3 diamonds bid, that if you get this sort of very strong hand opposite of preempt, but with some blocking honors in your partner's long suit, it is often better to go to 4 major or 5 of a minor instead of 3 no trump, where you don't have a sure entry. Board 3 is actually also a really interesting board. In my opinion, North has a great hand. And you think as West probably that you have the most boring hand of the table, but actually you're going to have one of the most interesting defense decisions. And auction I saw a bunch of times was a 1 club opening, pass 1 heart. East has to overcall 1 spade, this hand is good enough. South might bid a no trump. West bids 2 spades. And North bids 4 hearts. And And East is on lead. And here you should not lead the ace of spades with a spade stopper in south. Is very likely to set up the good spades for declare where they can pitch on something. So just follow the normal advice. Don't lead your aces or lead your aces. Just lead free little of the side seat. Let's say the 7 of diamonds. And as declare, you only have 4 losers, 2 in clubs and 2 in diamonds. But it does look quite scary already. With the 8 of diamonds lead, it looks like you might have actually all those losers. But winning the ace of diamonds serves little purpose. And if you can actually set up the clubs or the spades, you might also only have 1 diamond loser. So you start by playing small for the jack. And this position was reached a couple of times, also in the practice where this board came from. And now if West leads back a spade, you might think that's safe. Declare ruffs and cross trumps, and now has to play up either clubs, and we can take the ace and develop a second diamond trick, or he needs to play on diamonds and we win the king, and we can then start cashing the clubs. But actually the declarer here has a trick. He has a loser on loser play. Pitches the 3 of clubs for the ace. And now, while we have lost this trick, we actually developed 2 winners in the south hand. And they might be able to, and we are able to pitch the 9 of clubs and the 9 of diamonds on that. Now they can prevent the 9 of diamonds from, the 9 of clubs being pitched by cashing the ace of clubs. Because this would be the last trick on the defense. You can take the ace of diamonds, and then you pitch the 10 of diamonds, securing the contract. So when in with the jack of diamonds, you have to realize as West that this is actually a very scary play to make the spade. You know your partner has 5 spades, the declarer has 0. With king, queen, 4 and dummy, this loser on loser play is a real threat here. And if you assume declarer has totally solid hearts, or nearly solid hearts, the one way we can possibly beat this contract is by partner having the ace of clubs. Now, there are 2 ways to beat the contract. The first one is to cash 1 or 2 clubs and then play back a diamond. But the play I think is most natural is to play back a heart. And the declarer can win. And when he plays up a club, maybe after drawing trumps, let's say after drawing trumps, and now plays a club, East now has a very not difficult decision, but definitely needs to be very alert at this point, because he needs to take the ace of clubs and play back a second diamond, making sure the king of diamonds gets developed before the West player and gets rid of the king of clubs. And the clubs of the dummy are good. Might be tempting for East to cash the ace of spades in this scenario, because he doesn't know yet West has 4. The declarer could have 1. But also that you know that because partner won the jack of diamonds in trick 1, that will create pitches for the declarer. So a defense that might look easy, but in practice, it's deceptively difficult to get this right. Both the lead, winning, and then playing back correctly. If you, as declarer, how can you make this a little bit more difficult? Of the ace of diamonds, I think, is to play the queen for the king. And no, okay, maybe not on the 8 of diamonds lead, but let's say you get the 7. At this point, West doesn't know yet where the 10 of diamonds is. And if the partner has the 10 of diamonds, it might be a good idea to play back a diamond now and to hope that you get some hard trick and then the jack of diamonds. That unfortunately cannot really produce 4 tricks on the defense, because 1 heart, 2 diamonds, and then you would not get a club trick because North has the ace of clubs and he would be able to take a finesse over your king. And that's why it's definitely best at West to play your partner on both aces and to be able to beat it that way. Something I did not see a lot of is 4 spades contracts. By East. Now, this would be a very aggressive 4 spade bid and probably not correct. But actually, it's if you're not going to beat 4 hearts, it's a very reasonable save. It only goes 1 down probably with good declare play. Double dummy, you can make it, but you have to play very much for this exact layout. But it has the advantage at this board that North probably bids 5 hearts. Which will be easier to beat, but still the ace of spades, credit ace of spades lead, lets it through because it just develops 2 spade tricks. So be careful to not lead something like ace fifth, even if your partner supported, if the dummy is going to have values in that suit because they promise a stopper and declare is going to be short. On board 4, this is also a very interesting board in practice, and it has a couple of themes about how aggressive you bid and how the bidding is supposed to go. So I followed a nice table here who actually played the board exactly what I think are the best actions on the board. Went a 1 spade opening, and right now North has to decide. I understand pass, but the bit I like the most is 2 spades Michael's cubit. It shows 5 hearts and 5 of a minor. It immediately shows your hand. You don't have to balance anymore. And with 2 suitors, I think it's often a good idea to stick your neck out early in the auction, get your hand across. And if you have a big fit, you can go sometimes very high. And if you don't have a big fit, it's better to bid fast. Your opponents don't yet know what's going on. They are also trying to get their hands in, and they won't penalty double you if you are wrong. And this North hand is, in my opinion, barely good enough to make this 2-suited bid. East right now has a hand that should support. Not double or something. Also, in the same vein, get your hand across quickly. South bids 4 hearts. You have a decent hand with hard fit. That is a bit aggressive. And West has a nice hand with a void and hearts, good spades. And I saw a lot of auctions go 1 spade, pass, 2 spades, all pass. And that is a pretty passive decision with the West hand. And I think with a void, you should, in these fit auctions, you should really take the aggressive actions right now. And now you get handsomely rewarded for any invite you make with a absolutely amazing East hand, no wasted values in hearts. Also, lots of cards on site. But you're not out of the watershed. How should you declare on what I think is the most natural lead here? Just a stiff diamond, threatening some bluffs. I would not necessarily lead the top heart here because declare is likely to know the diamond layout anyway. So you're not giving out that much away with these types of leads. And because North has letter diamond, and that's almost certainly a stiff, best play for declare right now is actually to cash 2 high trumps, and then because you already know the exact shape at this point, you would know North has 2 spades, 5 hearts, 1 diamond, and 5 clubs. So the board has actually become completely double dummy for you in the play. So you would be able to cash a second spade, and now cash a diamond trick, another diamond, and ruff a heart. And now, because you know the exact shape of North, you get to cash the 10 of diamonds, throwing your you losing club. A ruff a heart and ruff another club. And now you even get as a bonus the 10 of clubs in. Sorry, the 9 of spades in, because you get to ruff 1 more heart trick, and you make 11 tricks for, I think, a great board. Well done by Dillis and Anne. I see one question: what you bid with the south hand of the 2 spades? So I assume the auction 1 spade, 2 spades, double or something akin to that. In that case, I like probably 3 hearts would be the passive decision. Ideally, I would make some maybe slightly positive bid with hearts. But after East has expressed a desire to penalty double either 3 mine or 3 hearts, I think it's all right to not go too high with the south hand and just bid 3 hearts. The alternative would be to bid something that shows an invitational hand with heart fit, and then North has a minimum, and either East-West get to 4 spades again, or it should fizzle out. Like right now, the layout is also sort of rough for North-South, but 4 hearts is actually way too high, and 3 hearts is, with perfect play already, doubled down to, which is a bit worse than 4 spades making. But with a maybe a little bit friendly defense, it was only 1 down, and it's just a totally fine score if your opponents were able to make a vulnerable game. the south hand might look good on this auction, 1 spade, 2 spades double, but actually it's not that nice. If your partner has 5 clubs and 5 hearts, our hearts are really good, but our spades and our diamonds are mostly trash and good for preventing the opponents to make too many tricks, but in practice useless for your own contracts. Only hearts and clubs values or aces and kings in spades and diamonds are useful because your partner has only 1 or 2 cards in both spades and diamonds, so queens and jacks don't matter that much anymore. On board 5, and here South has an absolutely brilliant hand, and probably all of you got really excited, and North and East have a pretty mediocre hand. I was very happy. I saw all of you get to 3 no trump or 4 spades played by South. I was afraid that some kind of Caucasian auction would get some of you guys to 4 spades with North and ruin my board for me. The pair we're debating right now, they had an excellent auction to 4 spades. South opened a strong 2 clubs, 3-bid 2-no, 22-23 points. Then bit a puppet stamen with North. South showed 4th major, North showed 4 spades, and North-South got to 4 spades. I think it's absolutely worth it with North to go through some kind of stamen or puppet stamen auction instead of just bidding 3-no. Right now, this board, 3-no is, I think, markedly worse than 4 spades, but the players in 3-no in practice got rewarded a little bit because West has a natural club lead against 3-no trump, and that lets the contract probably make in most variations. But what I wanted to talk about mostly for West is on lead against 4 spades here. And in these kind of scenarios where the declarer has a super, super strong no trump, like 20 plus range, they have a lot of forks in every suit. And it is almost always best to just not underlead any honors, even if that looks like a natural lead. I would go out of my way to not underlead queens or kings or anything that could be in the fork of South, because we are so likely to sit behind all the honors. So our honors were very valuable if we don't lead into their tennis. So if you would give me the West hand and say your opponents get to 4 spades, what do you lead? Both balanced on a normal auction, I would have a lot of sympathy for something like a heart or club. But with South such a strong hand, you cannot lead away from an honor. That would usually lose a trick. So the 2 of clubs here is out, according to me. And the best lead is what was made at the table is 9 of diamonds. So at this point, we can focus a bit again on the declare play. Declarer sees the 9 of diamonds lead and knows that's probably either a stiff diamond or a doubleton diamond. So you have 2 spade losers and 2 club, or you have 3 spade losers and 2 club losers. So you need to get rid of 2. And the easiest way would be to rough 2 clubs in dummy. But there's actually a hidden threat here, and that is when you rough both of your clubs, is that they get over roughed or by East or early roughed by West, and they lead back a diamond, they threaten a diamond rough, and actually you're going to lose 4 trump tricks because East is going to over rough your 4th club and then lead back a diamond. You need to play a trump for what was originally something like King Doubleton or King Jack of Spades, and East is going to give our partner a diamond ruff for down one. And this is almost non-preventable, but there are ways you're going to try to stop this. So the one way to play here, and most natural to me, is to just try to ruff the clubs and hope everything works out. Hopefully East does not have a holding that can effectively overruff, or he has the wrong type of trumps to make sure West can get a diamond ruff and also gain a couple of tricks. The other one alternative I would say is to play the Queen of Spades from your hand. That is a weird looking play. It might work in practice, but it has a lot of value of having strength from the closed hand. So East-West don't know yet that the best defense if you start with the Queen of Spades from your hand is to play 3 rounds of trumps. So if, let's say, East has had King Doubleton right now or Ace Doubleton of Spades, it will not at all be clear to him that he needs to win and return a spade immediately to cash 2 more. But the other play you can make, and which is probably the technically most solid play, is to ruff a club, which unfortunately doesn't work right now because East has only 2 and she can overruff. But right now East-West still need to be careful in defense. So here East returned a heart, and right now as declarer there's no sense on trying to ruff another club. It will just get overruffed and you will be stuck with more losers. So the South declarer here tried to very good play for another chance. They crossed to the dummy and they played a spade up, hoping for the spades to split 2-2 right now, and East having something like Ace Jack or King Jack of Spades left. And then they cannot defend in a way that will allow them to beat you. They can only cash 2 spades. They cannot make an extra club overruff without a high trump. And a bunch of tables got to this point. And here I noticed a couple of Wests did not know what to do yet, and they played back another club, allowing to make 1 heart. But at this point, West has all the information. South has 4 spades and another losing club. South wants to ruff that club in dummy, and partner is out of trumps because partner started with 2, declare has 4, dummy has 4, you have 3. So right now West correctly concluded she needed to play 2 more rounds of trumps, and the declare is dead in the waters here. And was a very nice way of beating it. I think a layered board where both defense and offense can succeed depending on how you would actually play the boards. And well done to the people who beat it. That one combination of the correct lead and the correct defense afterwards. And also well done to the declarers that made it. They either maybe have gotten a lucky lead, but if you got on the diamond lead, you played 3 rounds of clubs overruffed, and then you correctly crossed your dummy to play spade from the dummy, you already played very well. And you took the best chance on this board. another board I wanted to share you guys, which was very wild, was board 8. Here, West has a great hand to start with a 1 diamond opener, and North has a normal 1 heart overcall. It goes pass, and South should make some kind of good raise in hearts. West still has an extremely good hand. They bet 3 clubs, and North-South should reach a very good 4 hearts. Unfortunately, East-West can beat this because of the bad heart layout. But the defense and the offense, they went back and forth on a lot of tables. So first, East has a lead. Question. Now, if your partner opened both 1 diamond and then rebid 3 clubs or even 4 clubs, it is easier to lead a club. But even if their partner only opened 1 diamond and then never bid clubs because they got 2 4 hearts too quickly or because she elected to make another bid, I would even prefer the 3 of clubs anyway. Leading a stiff is just very strong. On these boards, you threaten immediately 2 hard roughs. You put a lot of pressure on the offense, not only when you actually get to roughs, you might beat this very quickly, but also, as you can see on this board, the declare wins. And they immediately have to decide right now, do I go for the play of roughing 2 diamonds in dummy, and then I get very vulnerable in clubs to the 10 of hearts becoming a trick, or do I like to draw trumps, but then I'm stuck with all these diamond losers? So if you get the diamond leads on this board, you're actually able to make it. And the most important part here is that you need to realize you need to rough 2 diamonds in dummy. And while you think you can do that even after you've drawn 1 round of trumps, you are a bit stuck for both communication, and also you don't have that many high trumps left. Because North knows at this board that West has 5 diamonds and 5 clubs, but that leaves a surprising amount of spades outstanding. Their opponents have 9 combined spades, and East is likely to have bid with 7 or 8 spades herself. So you're already very suspicious of the heart layout. East probably has at least 3 hearts, quite possibly 4 hearts, which means you really need to retain as much of the high trumps as you can. And if you start by playing a trump to the ace, you already lose a bit of communication. If you start by playing the king of trumps, you will have to rough some of the diamonds high with a high trump, and the 10 of diamonds is very likely to promote your trick. So the best play is to immediately play back a diamond. And this has the nice advantage. The West is already, I wouldn't say end played, but in a sort of uncomfortable position. And she can play back a diamond, and here East has another nice defensive resource. Pitch your club. And Declare really wants to rough all the diamonds in dummy. So right now, you get to this pot, and in actuality, you are here very, I think this correctly, you get to a spot where you already know East has no more clubs. So now you need to, if you now rough a diamond, you will see you will get stuck in the south hand. And here you cannot avoid the 10 of hearts promoting anyway. So it's here the move to play club. And this leaves East in a spot where either he needs to pitch something, and that is the winning defense here. And here you were very close in the clear play, but you still cannot prevent this card from promoting. Okay, I think I've gotten a bit caught up here. So in this 4 hearts, I think a couple of players made it by managing to rough enough of the diamonds in their dummy while not getting trapped. And this was just a play with too many variants, and I have to say I'm getting a little stuck inside my own hat. But it's a super interesting board to play through some of these variants yourself and see if you could have made it, see where you could have beaten it. And this board, I think almost all of you would have opened 1 heart with the East hand. It goes pass. And right now, I think you can't see the West hand. But West hand has a 4-3-3-3, which is often a bad shape. But actually, because she has the Queen of Hearts and 2 aces, that is a super good hand for a heart contract. So West should make some kind of invitational heart race if that's available. Because the cards she has are just super prime. And East doesn't accept on this. And this leads to a 4 heart contract that looks way too high. And if you're declared East, you might already throw your hands up, think I have no shot at making this. But at this point, you really have to look for the small chances of these boards. And something I want you to remember is that if you get a lead in a trump compact and you have these holdings ace third opposite 3 little, and your opponents have not bid that suit at all, they're almost never 6-1. But if you have a lot of problems in your play, or you look like you have too many losers, you can play for these suits to be 5-2. And right now, maybe you don't even see the upside yet, but if you start by ducking the club, you break the communication in the club suit. And where they continue a club, a lot of players got to this point, you can see the contours of an end play emerging. If the hearts are 2-2 right now, and you get to strip the diamonds by ruffing 2 diamonds in your hand, you might be able to exit in a way so that either North has to bring a spade to the dummy, maybe the spades are 3-3 and North gets in twice, or South has honored doubleton of spades, something like Queen 9, Jack 9, King 9. They can actually not beat the board anymore. You are able to play a spade to the ace, ace of diamonds, ruff a diamond, crossing hearts, ruff a second diamond, draw a trump, and now you exit a spade, and either South has to win, gets to cash a third round of clubs, and now has to give you a ruff and sluff, or South unblocks the spade, or maybe North takes over the spade, and she can cash 2 spades, but then has to bring the 4 spade to the dummy. And the other thing I want you to remember, if you're playing for some kind of end play where you're afraid one of your opponents might get to unblock. So right here, if we play a spade from a dummy and it goes small, ace, and now South has honor doubleton, king doubleton, queen doubleton, or jack doubleton. They can beat the contract, but only if they unblock their honor right at this moment. Now, if you play spade to the ace right away, this is very tough. But if we start by playing a diamond, ruffing a diamond, crossing in a heart, ruffing another diamond, drawing one more round of trumps, seeing there to 2, and now we play the ace of spades. A good South player will now notice that this is way more suspicious. They know the diamonds are stripped, they know you have a trumps good in both hands, they know the only chance of beating this is to take 2 spades and 2 clubs. So they will think through it and conclude much more quickly, wait, if I win this next spade trick with my king doubleton and I cash one more club, I know it's already making 100% of the cases. And whereas if you would play spade of the dummy way earlier, all the way at trick 3, right here, it's much more hard on block. And also what comes in at this point is a hidden advantage. You play spade of the dummy, and North now has king, queen, jack 2 of spades at this board. And they can beat you right now in 4 hearts by playing low. But this is an inhuman play. There's almost no player you can find in the world that will not insert an honor from 3 honors next to each other. So South will play the jack here, but it's not only king, queen, jack small, it's also queen, jack 9 small, for example, where the only way to still beat it is to play low as North right here. But it's so tempting to insert the 9 or the jack from some kind of series here. You also have, or similar holdings, king, queen, 9 small. It will be very hard for most players to play low in tempo. Another advantage is that similar holding is king, queen, small. Here, North does need to insert an honor. And to make sure they just don't win the 2 spades twice, they end up being 3-3, and they never manage to cash their third round of clubs. And so by playing like this, the spade on dummy and trick 2, you put maximum pressure on both of your opponents. And you have no idea if this worked yet with the jack of spades, but at this point, you try. You play diamond, diamond. They try to win it. You cross a heart. You ruff your last diamond. And now you exit a spade, hoping South now wins with honor doubleton. But actually the 9 comes in, and this is where an extra chance comes to life. North wins a spade and can win one more spade, but now has to bring you either a rough and slough or exit spade, and you get to pitch your losing club to make the contract. And one more extra thing I want to tell you to make the play even harder on the opponents, and also the card that does allow you to make this double dummy, is to not play a small spade from West, but to instead play the 10. And here you make it even more tempting from North to cover from something like Queen, Jack 9 small, where it would be very, very difficult for them to play low on the 10 of spades. So don't give up in these kinds of contracts. Think, okay, what layout can I imagine still gives me some chance of making? And in these kind of spots where you have trump control, but you just have control over all suits, but you just have too many losers. Ace, third, opposite 3, little, and 2 suits, you have 4 losers. The answer on your chances of making are often these kind of end plays with a 2-2 split, where they need to be careful to unblock, to get the right moments to win these tricks. And you will have more chances to make these contracts than you think, and especially the defense has to be really careful on these boards. Is it possible to show all hands? I will show all hands for you. So this is the board. Doubly back. One of the things I saw that was very sad at one point is that the player started really well, and they ended up in a scenario where the 10 of spades became good in a dummy, but there was still a diamond left in West, and North exited the diamond rough, but East did not retain the 6 of hearts to cross to the 7, so she was stuck in her hand to go, unfortunately, down 1. But a really beautiful board, very difficult as well. I think no one did it, but The absolute top here, of course, would be to end up in 3 no trump, which is a ridiculous spot to end in, but it's completely unbeatable. And not want to withhold you guys is this super exciting slam board for East-West. Here, West opens 1 club, North overcalls a weak 2 in hearts, for my point. East bits a forcing 2 spades, gives pass. Right now, West has a really good hand. You can make some kind of fancy bits all around, but essentially what you want to bid is Blackwood for 4 no trump. If your partner has 2 key cards and the queen, you bid 7. If you miss one of them, you only bid 6. And here, East-West will end up in 6 spades via that auction. And you get a hard lead. So you have a decision here as a declarer. You win the first hard trick, and you know the hearts are 60. So there's not an immediate threat, but there will be a threat if you take a spade finesse. If you take a spade finesse and it's offside and North cashes a heart, you are obviously down 1. So the natural play to make probably is to try to pitch your hearts first on the clubs. So you start off by cashing 2 rounds of clubs, and North drops the jack. And even at like really high level, my experience is that players are super sloppy with false carding in these spots. So as much as we like to pretend that, oh, good players false card all the time, I think a lot of good players will fail to false card with Jack 3rd or Jack 4th here. And so the Jack of clubs would immediately make me suspicious. And okay, so we're thinking if the clubs are 5-2, we are in trouble if we play the queen. North will ruff, we are over ruff. And even though we don't have 2 direct losers yet, if the spades, a king of spades is onside, we have a problem that our clubs, which are source of tricks, are not yet high and are not providing that many tricks. So a way we can try to counteract this is, for example, to play a low club. Or another way we can try to guard against this is to cash the ace of spades first. That will make it a little bit safer. Because if we cash the ace of spades first and North has a doubleton spade and they then ruff the queen of clubs, we're not yet in a bad spot. We can play the ace of diamonds, ruff a diamond, ruff a club, ruff a diamond, ruff a club, ruff a diamond, and then play our last club pitching a heart. And they only get to make the king of spades. But when we play like this, the queen of clubs, it gets ruffed and overruffed. Right now we are in a very dangerous position. And double dummy you can still make, but it will require a Herculean effort where you play a small diamond at some point from the east hand. So my recommendation would be do not trust the jack of clubs or to trust the jack of clubs in this scenario, and either safeguard by playing the ace of spades or by playing a low club. And a low club here is not that great if North has 4 clubs, because they would pitch, we would ruff, and right now we might take something like if they played low, right now we have to cross in spades, play a high club, and at this point North still has a club, and South probably has king third of spades originally and now threatens to take 2 spade tricks. But I think that is the less likely layout in practice. So we can either here play just a straight up spade finesse, or we can decide to play spade to the ace, and then continue with our club pursuit. Even if this gets ruffed, we get to overruff and go in a crossruff, eventually pitching our last heart on the 6th club to still make. And the alternate, also in variation, if you think you see the jack of clubs and you think like might be a doubleton, is to just take the spade finesse. Which also works right now. I saw a couple of declarers maybe not immediately cash the clubs, but instead go for a spade finesse. This also works right here, but you have to be careful right now that you do leave enough entries to set up the clubs. And I want to share with you absolutely great declare play by Leanne Madison. I noticed they got to 6 spades via a strong club auction, which looks fine to me, but I don't know the intricacies of that system exactly. But that looks like a really nice auction to me. And she played it marvelously. She got a hard lead and played a diamond and immediately took a spade finesse, which was covered. And now she made a small mistake, I think. Instead of roughing a club to make sure you have proper amount of entries, she drew trumps first. And right now, she got into a bad spot because the clubs did not split. So right now you will notice that to develop clubs, you actually need to make 2 more roughs, but you only have 1 entry back to the west hand. So this seems like a unsolvable problem, and she's about to go 1 down. But she found a very clever play by pitching a diamond on the club. South wins, and he is now end played. If she plays a 10 of clubs, East roughs a diamond, and can pitch the queen of diamonds on the last side club. And instead, if you place a diamond back, the queen of diamonds becomes a trick. So I thought it was a really clever play, and really nice exit. Board 16. Board 16 is also a really interesting board. I forgot about that one. And I'm showing this correctly, right? Yeah. This goes one club opening, pass one spade. And right now, South has a really nice hand. And you have to decide first, am I going to make a double and then might make a 10-bit hearts on another level to show a strong hand with hearts, too strong to immediately overcall, or will I just overcall 2 hearts immediately? So in my opinion, double and then bidding a suit usually shows 18 plus about, but this South hand is just incredible. Avoid good hearts, spades positioned behind the spades, and I think you will miss a lot of decent games here if you overcall 2 hearts and your partner passes with ace third of hearts and out, and it's already a really good game. So I like double here. West might redouble to show 3 spades. And partner bids 2 diamonds, he has to make a bid. We compete, we bid 3 hearts. East competes, West bid 3 hearts. Or sorry, South bid 3 hearts to show her hand. This was the plan. And now North has to realize that this is actually a really nice hand. Oh, Queen third of hearts is really good. Doubleton spade, partner has 18 plus. So we have at least 23 combined points, some roughing value. And North raises the game. I think also on different auctions where South starts with 2 hearts, it goes a support double from West. North might also bid 3 hearts later at this point, just competing, and South will raise the game. If North bid 3 hearts, can East bid again? Possibly, I think 3 spades is definitely all right. I think 4 spades would be a bit too aggressive, like your partner looks to be more balanced-ish rather than unbalanced. You have pretty soft values, but I definitely like 3 spades. And safe for East-West is, I mean, optimistic. It depends if you know very much about West's 5-card club suit. But in my system, West could easily be 3-4-3-3 on this board. And at that point, you don't want to save with East in any way. The Declare play is also very interesting here. So you get the Ace of Clubs lead from Ace King, and you rough. So right now, what you want to do as Declare is rough a spade in the north. But actually, this doesn't have that much of a rush. So you can always do this later on. And in this case, you might well start off by leading hearts from south towards the queen, instead of playing 3 rounds of spades and then playing the queen of hearts. That leaves you open to maybe East winning the ace of hearts and then giving a promotion to our partner in spades, or just other nasty business. And now it reveals something about the board as well. East shows out, and At this point, we are probably very suspicious of West's exact layout. We know she has 3 spades and 4 hearts. And, at least a couple of clubs. And East did not really bid that aggressively. So it's unlikely for East to have 6 clubs. So if West now has a stiff diamond, as she does, we really have to play carefully. And the easiest way to play careful here is to not to make sure we don't lose 2 hearts and 2 diamonds. So that's the threat here. So the easiest way to avoid this is to ruff a club now and ruff 3 and play 3 rounds of spades. And right now you think we're a bit of a crossroads. But we can avoid losing 2 hearts, or 2 remaining hearts right now at any point by ruffing a club in our hands. Right now, that would be a dangerous play because it would allow West to become longer in trumps, and then she can ruff the second round of diamonds, pull 1 round of trumps, and just start pumping the clubs through. And we would have no defense anymore. So right now, ruffing a club lets you go down. But if we suspect West has a singleton diamond, and we know that she might have a singleton diamond, maybe 2, maybe 3, but definitely not 4. Because West has 3 spades and 4 hearts. If she had 4 diamonds and 2 clubs, she would have opened 1 diamond instead. So we don't even need to take some kind of safety hook. We can just play the ace of diamonds and another diamond. And if West ruffs this, there's no danger. We will lose an extra hard ruff, but we will only lose 1 diamond trick because this is a ruff in the air, as we say. So it does not ruff a honor of value in diamonds from us. It ruffs a loser. And instead, if West doesn't want to ruff a loser, we win the king of diamonds, and now we ruff 1 more club, securing 10 tricks. The king jack of hearts always produces 1 more trick, and this is a board about timing in that regard, because if we forgot to ruff a club at some point, so let's say we would have ruffed the spade here, and we would play diamond and the diamond to the king. Right now we are in big trouble. If we play a diamond from dummy, East cashes 2 diamonds, and West pitches 2 clubs, and we cannot stop West from also making 2 hard tricks. So at this point, we have no chance anymore. We go down. So even if we ruff a club, this has the same ending. So this is also an interesting figure to remember, that if you are someone is behind you with a good amount of trumps, and you want to avoid not losing all of them, but you're afraid that if they rough something along the way, that they might be able to beat you, or they might be able to either pull your trumps, or that they have the long trump and you lose things in your side suit. Then it's often right to go down to the same amount of trumps as they have and play your side suit through them. Board 1 was not intended, but I'll quickly go over it. I think North has a 1 diamond opening. In my preempt style, this hand is just too heavy to open a non-vulnerable preemptive bid. 10 count with a good 7 card suit is a 1 opening in my book. If you open 3 diamonds on this board, I think finding slam is almost impossible. He should overcall 2 diamonds, both majors. That is a great convention that I would even more like to do. Board 16 is a hard declare problem in 4 hearts. And if you save with 5 clubs or 4 spades, it's difficult to say exactly what happens. That depends on a lot of variables. In this scenario, 1 diamond, 2 diamonds, South has a hand where she has no fit. You can either bid unusual and versus unusual. That's I did, so you can bid 2 hearts to show clubs, or could double. Let's say it goes 2 hearts, West preempts in spades, maybe 4 spades. And let's say double, 4 spades, 5 diamonds by North. Has a 7 card suit, doesn't want to defend 4 spades into a 5-5 fit with pretty poor hard holding as well. And here South has an incredible hand that should raise to slam. She knows that the Queen of Diamonds and the Ace of Clubs is probably good enough to offer slam good play. And I think most of the right options to slam on this board have this kind of theme where maybe West bids 3 spades instead and North bids 4 diamonds. And at this point, South can also pretty much bid black put and slam, or jump to slam, or any of that nature. So and I think these are probably the options most of you should encounter, and I imagine that some players may have encountered something like 1 spade overcall. I don't agree with that, but it might go along similar lines. Maybe North passes 1 times, but should pull a second double for sure. And South ends up in this same position where she just needs so little for slam with Queen 6 of diamonds, and Ace doubleton of clubs already offers great slam potential. I see a question, should East West sacrifice in 6 spades? I think that that's really difficult to do. Like, East has no idea whether, for example, Queen doubleton of clubs could be of value. It also goes down a bunch. And right now it goes down 800, I believe, which is very close to the value of 6 diamonds, which is only 920. So it wins 3 imps for you. And if North happens to have one extra club, for example, and they need to find the queen of clubs and they would have misguessed if you would have passed, then you win way bigger swing. So I would not sacrifice as East because queen of clubs just has too much defensive potential, and West honestly just has too many non-tricks. So like East thinks that 6 space is going down so much that it's not worth sacrificing. So right now your partner has the spades on lock, but with a bit of bad luck, you're also missing like the king of spades, and you just go down for 1100, which would be a worse score than non-slam, even a slam making. I'm going to end it here, everyone. Thank you for your attention. Much thanks for having me, and I will see you in maybe another training. Bye.